I'm a little bit of a character, speak my mind, and I do a lot of impulsive things. But it's got me in some trouble, cost me some money. I'm trying to really, really, really think before I act. It's hard, but I'm trying. So I'm just trying to, calm it down a little bit.
War Machine was sentenced today to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 36 years.
I genuinely felt like I was going to die at this point.
Born Jon Koppenhaver, he had his name legally changed to War Machine in 2008, and he made his entry into mainstream MMA when he appeared on The Ultimate Fighter Team Hughes vs. Team Sarah. Since then, his career has gone through a lot of ups and downs, and he is now serving a life sentence for multiple counts of sexual assault, kidnapping, as well as other charges.
It was kind of a piece of work, Man, what a nut.
Koppenhaver was born in the Los Angeles suburb of Simi Valley, where his German-American father was an officer for the Los Angeles Police Department, while his Mexican-American mother worked as a nurse and later became a work-at-home mom. However, due to his mother's drug addiction, Koppenhaver would often take care of his younger brother and sister, and when he was just 13, he suffered a personal trauma when he unsuccessfully performed CPR on his father after he had suffered a heart attack.
I said, Dad, and he was he wouldn't, he was like couldn't breathe. Responding. Then he just stopped. I gave him CPR, dude.
You?
Yeah.
How old were you?
13.
In August 2000, Koppenhaver attended the Citadel, which is a military college in Charleston, South Carolina, for 2 years where he majored in biology. And apparently he was kicked out for poor behavior. However, in an interview with Joe Rogan, he told a different story.
I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I went to the Citadel for college. I was a biology major. I did everything good. I sucked up. I did everything right. And then after my sophomore year, I go to the guidance counselor's office, and they're like, "Hey, you owe us $15,000 from this year." I was like, "Well, how?" My mom gets my dad's pension. He was a cop. They get the money every month. Turns out my mom spent all the money on drugs. They spent it on drugs and my stepdad's attorney because he did a fraud case, right? So they said, well, the Navy wanted to give me a scholarship for my last 2 years and commission me afterwards, but they weren't going to back pay what I already owed, the 15 grand, right? So they said, you gotta pay this or we gotta freeze your credits. And I couldn't even transfer my credits. So then I went into meltdown psycho mode, because I sucked it up all that time and didn't drink, didn't do drugs, trained, did community service, all this stuff, good grades. And I went home, dude, and I beat my stepdad almost to death. I almost killed him. But I told the cop straight up, I said, hey man, I told him the truth. I said, my dad was an LAPD cop. I said, he died when I was 13. I said, I freaking busted my ass, went to a military college at Citadel. I have all A's and B's, biology major. These fuckers spent my dad's money on drugs. You know what I mean? I came home and I asked him why he did it, and we got in a fight, and I said I couldn't stop hitting him. That's what happened, And the cop goes, sounds like self-defense to me. Saved my ass.
Koppenhaver has always had a bit of a temper, as was displayed in a YouTube video back in the day when he displayed his dissatisfaction about being asked to take off his hoodie at a 7-Eleven when he wanted to buy a Slurpee.
I want to smash the
War Machine was released from the UFC after rejecting a fight offered by UFC matchmaker Joe Silva, as well as after comments made about the death of fellow UFC fighter Evan Tanner, where War Machine basically stated that he believed Tanner had gone to an isolated Southern California desert to kill himself after he realized that his career might be over and that he had made no money from it. However, medical examiners eventually ruled that Tanner's death was not a suicide, but Koppenhaver stood by his statement.
People took it the wrong way. They thought that I was talking poorly about Evan Tanner, and I wasn't. If anything, I was actually sticking up for the guy. Said he was in the middle of the desert doing some quest and he died. Right away, I said, oh man, dude, he must have killed himself, Right away, I posted a bulletin saying, what do you expect? Guys, they fight their whole life. Evan Tanner was a champion. Fought his whole life. He wasn't rich. He didn't make enough money probably to retire. I'm pretty sure I've spoken actually on MySpace to some of his friends and family, after the event. And, he knew he wasn't making a rise back to the top. He just lost. I think he had a lot of, emotional turmoil. And I've said it many times to my friends, hey man, when my career is up, and if I have nothing going, it might be a wrap. I might just kill myself too. And it's the truth. I think a lot of fighters feel that way.
War Machine's first two run-ins with the law came shortly after he was released by the UFC, as in 2007 he was charged with assault for choking a man out in a parking lot, while the next assault charge came for rendering a bouncer unconscious at a nightclub. And as a result of this, he was sentenced to 3 years of probation and had to complete 30 days of community service.
The doorman and I, there's always a little bit of tension between us. He's a big dude, about like 6'4", 320 pounds, big giant dude. And that night in particular, we had words that kept escalating. You know, he was gonna beat me up, I was gonna beat him up. We're talking shit. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, well, what's up? And he's like, what's up? You know, do something. He's telling me to do something, egging me on, kind of challenging me. He wanted to fight. Well, dude, you don't want to fight me. Well, yeah, come on, let's do it. We did it. He lost. It was only one punch. I didn't terrorize him. One punch. He lost, I won, I got in trouble.
3 years later, after a failed attempt at trying to get back into the UFC, War Machine found himself in trouble again as the MMA fighter was sentenced to 1 year in jail for a felony assault at yet another nightclub. However, he ended up spending 2 years and 2 months in jail for his crimes due to preceding events.
I grabbed from my mouth and kind of fell backwards onto my butt, and it took me a few seconds to kind of come out of my daze.
Bouncer Matthew Compton said the UFC fighter War Machine punched him several times in the mouth. Compton said he was dazed, his lip was split, and 2 of his teeth loosened.
In this day and age, there's laws protecting the weak.
War Machine began dating adult film actress Christy Mack in April of 2013. The relationship between the two personalities from two very different walks of life seemed to catch the eye of fans as Mack brought Koppenhaver back into the mainstream media, and it looked like the pair were elevating each other's success as they made numerous public appearances and shared a lot of photos on social media.
And this is just how our relationship goes.
Okay.
We one up each other, and then we have a good time doing it.
However, their happy relationship was far from what it looked like on the outside, as a little over a year after they began dating, Christy Mack decided to break things off with Koppenhaver in May of 2014. And 3 months later, War Machine walked into Mack's apartment to find her with another man. Corey Thomas, the man in question, then suffered the full wrath of the former UFC fighter as Koppenhaver assaulted Thomas for around 10 minutes and choked him, making him promise that he wouldn't tell the authorities.
And where was he striking you? In the face. With what? With his knuckles, closed fist. And I started to cover my face as fast as possible and get my hands up, but they were still slipping in. So as he's coming down, then he bit me here in the cheek.
After letting Thomas go, the MMA fighter assaulted Christy Mack for around 2 hours, resulting in the adult film actress suffering from 18 broken bones in her face, 12 missing teeth, a knife stab wound, 3 rib fractures, as well as a severely ruptured liver.
I could taste blood in my mouth, so I knew I had been hit in the face. I just remember being on all fours right in front of the shower, like I was about to stand up, and he kicked me in the ribs so hard that I fell over and began convulsing. Because I genuinely felt like I was going to die at this point. He had a knife. It was one of my kitchen set knives. It was a black handle with silver rivets, and he would push it into my ear. He would push it into my hand. He sawed off my hair. He cut up all of my wigs because he always hated my wigs. He cut my head.
Koppenhaver also didn't leave a favorable impression in the eyes of UFC legend Ken Shamrock, who had the following to say.
The thing about this that's sad about it is I started Jon. He first came into MMA. I'm the one that broke him in San Diego. And I had issues with him. My 17-year-old daughter, and Jon was like 20-something years old. He took her to Mexico and left her over there. So, and then ended up disappearing, and I haven't seen him since. He's always been hiding from me because he knows if I catch him, I'll break his neck. Wow. But yeah, he's always had an issue with this, and the guy needs help.
Koppenhaver then went on a run from the authorities for a week when he was finally caught and he was charged with 36 felony counts.
All right, this is a brand new jailhouse photo of the San Diego MMA fighter known as War Machine. The manhunt to find him ended this afternoon when he was tased and arrested in Simi Valley.
Koppenhaver chose not to testify at his own trial and apologized for his conduct, claiming to have found solace through religion behind bars, and he said that he would accept whatever sentence was handed to him and that he hoped to serve as an example to others.
I should have killed myself by now. There's no reason right now that I shouldn't be in the dirt right now, laying right next to Aaron Hernandez.
On March 20, 2017, Koppenhaver was convicted on 29 of the 36 felony counts, including kidnapping and sexual assault with a weapon, for which he faced life in prison.
War Machine was sentenced today to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 36 years.
War Machine was facing 34 felony charges. He was found guilty on 29 of those, all in connection to the attack on his ex-girlfriend and the man she was dating at the time, Corey Thomas. From the testimony, this was a brutal attack. The ER doctor who treated Mack said that she had a broken nose, fractured a rib, broken facial bones, and lost teeth. He went on to say her liver was so damaged you could compare it to someone who had been in a car crash.
Since then, Koppenhaver has expressed deep regret regarding his actions against Christy Mack, whose real name is Christy Mack, as well as Corey Thomas.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't regret that. And I hate it, and you guys, they might all hate me, but no one hates me as much as I hate the man that I used to be. And you know, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize to Christy. I'm sorry, Christy. You know, even Corey, you know, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, but I pray for you too. I pray for all you guys. And
in 2019, however, War Machine tied the knot with his longtime prison pen pal, a woman by the name of Ashley Farrington at Lovelock Correctional Center in Nevada.
You know, she finally came for a visit, and she started coming for, you know, visits, you know, every month or so, and we just got closer and closer and closer, and you know, it was too awesome, man. It was too powerful, and you know, I was against it at first. I felt like I was ruining her life, you know, by, you know, getting her entwined in my life in this mess. But the more our faith grew and the more the world melted away and we just cared about the spiritual things, the more we both gave into it, man. And it's beautiful, man. I mean, it's such a blessing. I mean, she's awesome. She gives me support and comfort and love. And I've been used so positively in her and her son's life to help them change. And it's just always, like, I feel so blessed, man. Like, you know, I got a wife, I got a kid. I got all this stuff.
Unfortunately, the honeymoon will have to wait, as War Machine will only be eligible for parole when he's 71 years old. But in any case, thanks for watching, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and check out some other videos on my channel.
I do feel that justice has been served, and I hope that so many more people can.